I know that Calgary is very good at advocating for Indigenous artwork here, but it just feels like another step, especially with this, because like everybody from all around the city can see it. My name is Waiposhpi, which means rabbit's foot in Métis. And my name is Peyton Savoie. It's my legal name. The theme behind my work showcases snowshoe hare and a coyote. And I wanted to do something that involves the seasonal change that happens here in Calgary. So specifically from summer to autumn. My inspiration comes from Treaty Number 7 in the Calgary area. So I'm very inspired by our local flora and fauna, as well as like just the people here and the seasons that we go through. So my artwork is very much influenced by Métis floral beadwork as well as Cree woodland work. So a lot of it has wiggly lines, as I call them, but we call them, or the culture calls them, power lines. So a lot of the time they get misinterpreted in the fact that they're like just sort of accents, whereas they make the flow of the piece like complete. I hope that people, and especially the Indigenous community, relate to it and can see themselves or their culture on the bus riding around the city.
My name's Michelle Koo, and I'm an illustrator, an animator. I do paintings, murals sometimes. So for the art bus, I wanted to make something really fun and colorful. Like my main inspiration was like connecting to my inner child and hopefully like bringing out other people's inner child when they ride the bus. And I wanted to keep it really like loose and sketchy with the coloring and kind of bring in like that feeling of like, oh, it doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of just letting like whatever you want to make come out and like drawing like a kid. It is kind of like connecting to the inner child. I want people to, I think when you're riding the bus, sometimes like you're on your way to work or you're like coming home and you're really tired or you're like carrying a lot of groceries or bags. Like I feel like that's me on the bus, like in survival mode or like on autopilot, like on your headphones. And I hoped that my artwork would kind of be like, oh, like a nice surprise, and then people could kind of feel that connection, like they want to play or they want to like daydream, and kind of bring them out of that maybe just like like robot autopilot mode, and yeah, give them a little
My
something
name's Kevin,
fun.
and this is my partner Jamie, and we are Rari and Polly. We're named after our teddy bears, our childhood teddy bears.
My teddy bear is Rari.
And my teddy bear is Polly.
A lot of times when you see porcelain, it has like dragons or scenery. Actually, the first place I think we experienced up close a dragon dance was in Calgary's Chinatown. So we were super excited to be able to kind of show off like the characters dancing with the dragon, and the long form of the dragon lends itself really well to a bus. Yeah. So we're like, oh, these two concepts work really well together, combined with our like memory of seeing the super cool dragon dance and the lion dances here. And then the stone lions that we did are pieces that we've done previously, but only in a very limited run as screen prints for the museum at the Calgary Chinese Cultural Center.
Yeah, it was super fun to use the face and the idea of being on a bus to help influence the design itself. So again, the dragon has this long curvature, and the dancing figures are literally sitting on the wheel well or standing up against it. And then we have little lettuce characters interacting with the lion dance, which is iconic and symbolistic. Cabbages, sorry. Cabbages with that. So there's a fun interaction there. And then as we developed art further, we were like, okay, well, how else can we promote Chinatown? So we're getting the characters of Calgary's Chinatown written in both English and Chinese characters on the back of the bus. So if you're behind it, you see two stone lines and then the calligraphy that will go into that.
Hi, I'm Phoebe, and my Art Bus project is kind of a celebration of community, especially in Indigenous urban spaces. I also wanted to explore our connection to the natural world and our connection to animals, and kind of show off a little bit of Calgary's wildflower life. My inspiration is from doing art workshops like the drum workshop that I did at the Lodgepole Center when I was a student at AU Arts. And I recently graduated from there, and so I've just been thinking a lot and reflecting a lot about that. So in this illustration, we have a group of people and they're outside and we have the city skyline. I wanted to illustrate people doing these Indigenous knowledge keeping outside and in nature. We also have us eating some bannock and, just like getting to know each other. I also incorporated some important elements like the sage smudge. I think what's most important is that everyone around Calgary gets the opportunity to see artwork and also gets to learn a bit about Indigenous culture and ways of knowing. And yeah, I think that's the most important part. That's what I'm most excited about.
Natalia Ionescu, and I'm an illustrator and graphic designer based in Calgary. My Art Bus project is kind of combining a story of living in kind of like an urban environment as a Calgarian. I've divided my story into kind of two parts on the bus surface. So one part represents living in the city, looking up into the sky and thinking about your hopes and dreams and sort of an optimistic future that's sort of symbolized by these fluffy clouds and shooting stars. And the other side is about connecting back with nature and kind of being more introspective and really appreciating kind of a quiet time and appreciating what is already here rather than what could be. And the backside kind of combines those two themes as like a transition and to connect the story as an ongoing process. I think an audience can take away, even if they only see one side of the bus, maybe as they're commuting, I hope it can either bring a sense of sort of peace and tranquility, or maybe some hope and optimism for the future. But overall, I think my goal throughout all my work, including this one, is to kind of just spread joy and whimsy. And yeah, I just really hope that people enjoy seeing sort of like a pop of color in their day and just something different on their everyday commute.
My name is Katie Green, and I chose the theme of bringing joy, whimsy, beauty, and hope. And I really responded to that theme because a lot of my artistic practice is a process of helping me explore and express my emotions and my interior experience. And so the way I kind of start paintings is usually I don't have a preconceived idea about what I'm gonna make, but I kind of sit down with like a little piece of paper and sort of create these like meditations where I'm responding to the medium and using acrylic inks and water and letting like different characters sort of emerge and come forward. And I've found that over time that is a very like therapeutic experience for me and really helps me to explore what I'm moving through at that given time, presented in this like visual way. And so that theme excited me because a lot of my work, I like to take these different characters and sort of use fantasy and like surrealism to create other worlds and have these different characters that are often quite emotionally visceral and sort of create these other landscapes for viewers to respond to, rooting again to sort of the emotional experience. I think that that's really important to me and like a big driver of why I make the work that I do. I think I would hope that my artwork could continue helping me and others explore their emotions and express themselves authentically.
My name is Lyndon Navalta, and my Art Bus project is titled Familiar Faces. It's a showcase of the wildflowers and colors of Nose Hill Park. It features scenes of the park through the seasons from the point of view of these larger-than-life flowers with expressive faces. It's got a little bit of an underlying message of appreciation and stewardship for the many green spaces we have in and around our city. The inspiration for my artwork really comes from the landscape of Alberta. Me and my partner goes on a lot of hikes and nature walks, and for me, when we go hiking, my favorite thing to do is to hunt for wildflowers. And whenever I see a wildflower, I get really excited. It's like meeting someone familiar. I made sure that the silhouettes of the flowers are distinct from one another So the silhouettes are really the key to making the artwork stand out from a distance. When you see the bus from afar or on the road, it feels like you're looking at a postcard from an arm's length. But when you get closer to it, you see all the details in that scenery, and having detail in those silhouettes could break the silhouette. So I make sure that the details are still keeping the integrity of the silhouettes.